Good morning, ma'am, and good morning, everyone. We are Group 5, and today we are excited to share with you our presentation about clustering. I am Sarah May Adante, together with my co-members, Miles Judy Albilla, Vince Joseph Katangi, Erica Benestao, and Roseanne Rivera. We have worked as a team to understand this topic, and we hope to find our presentation both informative and engaging. What is clustering? The process of making a group of abstract objects into classes of similar objects is known as clustering. Clustering is the most interesting and important techniques used in the world of data science and machine learning. It helps us to organize large amounts of information by grouping similar items together. Imagine trying to understand thousands of pieces of data. It would be overwhelming. But clustering helps us sorting these items into groups based on their similarities. These groups are called clusters. Clustering allows us to discover patterns in hidden structure in data, which make it a powerful tool in many areas, such as business, healthcare, marketing, and technology. This helps us better understand and analyze the data. Each object in the cluster share common features. An object from different clusters are dissimilar from each other. Example: clustering is a technique to group similar data tuples as objects. The goal is to form group clusters where objects in a cluster are similar. Objects from different clusters are dissimilar. To better understand clustering, let's look at an example. Imagine you have a big pile of mixed fruit, apple, bananas, and orange, all jumbled together. If I separated them into different baskets where apples go to the apples, bananas with bananas, and orange with orange, that's clustering. This cluster the fruit in the same basket are similar while the fruits in different baskets are different.
Hello po ma'am, I'm Roseanne Rivera. I'm gonna report about why clustering is important in data mining. The following are some points why clustering is important in data mining. First is scalability. We require highly scalable clustering algorithms to work with large databases. Scalability po, kailangan natin ng mga algorithm na kayang hawakan ang malaking volume ng data. Second is ability to deal with different kinds of attributes. Algorithms should be able to work with the type of data such as categorical, numerical, and binary data. Ang kakayahang umawak ng iba't ibang klase ng data ay hindi lang iisang uri ng data ang ginagamit natin. Dapat kayang humawak ng clustering ang mga data gaya ng numero, kategorya o binary. Next is discovery of clusters with attribute shapes. The algorithm should be able to detect clusters in arbitrary shapes, and it should not be bounded in distance measures. Mahalaga rin na ang algorithm ay hindi limitado sa tuwid o bilog lang na hugis ng clusters. Dapat kayang tukuyin kahit pa hindi pangkaraniwan ang itsura ng grupo. Next is interpretability. The results should be comprehensive, usable, and interpretable. Dapat simple at malinaw ang resulta para madaling gamitin ng tao. Next is high dimensionality. The algorithm should be able to handle high-dimensional space instead of only handling low-dimensional data. Sa dami ng aspeto ng data, halimbawa ng edad, lugar, interes, ay dapat kayang isama lahat ng ito sa pag-a-analyze. Application of clustering. It is widely used in many applications such as image processing, data analysis, and pattern recognition. Ang clustering daw po ay ginagamit sa iba't ibang larangan tulad ng image processing, data analysis, at pattern recognition. Next, it helps marketers to find the distinct group in their customer space, and they can characterize their customer groups by using purchasing patterns. Sa marketing naman, nakakatulong ito para mahanap ang mga grupo ng customer space. Next, it can be used in the field of biology by deriving animal and plant taxonomies and identifying genes with the same capabilities. Sa biology naman po, ginagamit ito para tukuyin ang klase ng hayop at halaman, o pati na rin ang mga gen na may parehong kakayahan. Next, it also helps in information discovery by classifying documents on the web. Sa web naman po o internet, nakakatulong ito sa paghanap ng impormasyon sa pamamagitan ng pag-uuri ng mga document at articles ayon sa kanilang nilalaman. Kung iisipin natin, para lang itong pag-aayos ng gamit sa bahay, pinagsasama-sama natin ang magkakapareho para mas madali silang hanapin at gamitin. Ganon din ang clustering sa mundo ng data.
Good morning po, ma'am. I'm Erica G. Banastao. So the topic that I will discuss is about clustering methods, and we have 5 methods, but I will tackle the 2 parts. So first, what is partitioning methods? Partitioning methods are straightforward and focus on dividing data into a fixed number of clusters denoted as K. K represents the number of clusters that you want to divide your data into. And the purpose of that K is to help in segmenting the dataset into distinct groups and facilitates the identification of patterns within the data. So, what they do? These methods divide data into a specific number of groups called clusters. For examples, K-means and K-medoids. K-means aims to partition the data into K clusters by minimizing the variance within each cluster. K-medoids, similar to K-means but uses actual data points as center, or medoids, which can be more robust to noise. And here are some of the goals. First, minimize intra-cluster variance. So make sure that items within the same cluster are as similar as possible. Second, maximize inter-cluster variance to ensure that items in different clusters are as different as possible. Second of clustering methods are hierarchical methods. So what is hierarchical methods? This method creates a hierarchy of clusters where each data point starts as its own cluster, and clusters are merged together over time. Kumbaga po, sa hierarchy is makakabuo ng mga data points. Kumbaga yung data points po, it could be a numbers, word, or even physical objects that can start on cluster or the group within data. And also po, hierarchical clustering organize data into a hierarchy of clusters. For example, you could cluster movies by genre, then group those genre into broader categories like action and drama. So, what they do? These methods create a tree-like structure where each item starts in its own group. Groups are merged based on similarity and the purpose to help visualize and understand the relationships between different data points through a dendrogram or the tree structure. And we have 2 types of hierarchical clustering. First, agglomerative clustering or bottom-up. The algorithm starts with each data point as a separate cluster. Clusters are iteratively merged based on some proximity criterion. This process continues until all data points belong to a single cluster or until a specified number of clusters is reached. So how it works? Each data point is initially its own cluster. The closest clusters are merged step by step until all data points are combined into one cluster. Second, divisive clustering or top-down. This approach starts with a single cluster containing all data points. It iteratively splits the cluster into smaller clusters. How it works? It starts with one single cluster that contains all data points and iteratively splits it into smaller clusters. Thank you po, ma'am.
So next is number 3, density-based methods. These methods focus on cluster of varying shapes and densities. A popular method in this category is DV-scan, density-based spatial clustering of application with noise, which identifies clusters of arbitrary shapes and effectively handles noise and outliers. So sa density-based clustering, ang idea ay magbuo ng mga cluster batay sa kapal or density ng data points sa isang lugar. So, ang mga region na may maraming data points ay tinuturing na cluster, habang ang mga nasa malalayong lugar o kakaunti lang ang data ay tinuturing na outliers. So, may mahalagang konsepto dito ay EPS, F-score ang distansyang ginamit para i-scan ang paligid ng bawat points. Next is mean points, minimum na bilang ng points na kailangan sa loob ng EPS radius upang matawag na dense area. So, may mga algorithm tayo na pwedeng gamitin. First is DV-scan, density-based spatial clustering of application with noise. Next is optics or ordering points to identify clustering of structure. So, may mga halimbawa tayo dito. First is pagkilala sa hindi regular na hugis sa imahe. Gamit sa image segmentation, lalo na kapag ang hugis ng mga object ay hindi pantay. Next is GPS-based clustering. Pagkilala sa mga lokasyon madalas bisitahin ng tao sa sasakyan gamit ang GPS data. Next is anomaly detection. Sa cybersecurity, maaring gamitin ito para tukuyin ang mga kahina-hinalang aktibidad na lumilis sa normal na pattern. Next is number 4, grid-based methods. Grid-based methods divide the data space into a finite number of cells. These methods tend to be faster, especially for large data sets. This is because the computation is independent of the number of data points and only depends on the number of cells in each dimension. So, ang grid-based clustering ay naghahati ng buong data space sa mga grid of cells, parang chessboard. So, sa halip na i-analyze ang bawat individual data point, sinusuri nito kung ilang points ang nasa loob ng bawat cells. So, ito ay mas mabilis lalo na sa malaking dataset. So, dahil hindi nito kailangang suriin ang distansya ng bawat point sa isa't isa. So, may mga algorithm na pwedeng gamitin dito. First is Sting, statistical information grid. Next is ClickQ, or clustering in queues. Next is wave cluster. So, may mga halimbawa tayo dito. First is satellite image analysis. Para sa paghati-hati ng image based sa mga kulay o patterns sa loob ng bawat cell. Next is traffic analysis sa lungsod. Paghahati ng mapa sa mga grid at paaralan ng volume ng traffic o kada cell. Next is geospatial data cluster. Gamit sa pag-aaral ng population density, real estate, hotspot at iba pa. Next is number 5, model-based methods. These methods assume that A specific model generates the data. Their goal is to fit the base model to data which you can then use for clustering. Example include the Gaussian Mixture Model or GMM. So, sa model-based clustering, inaakala na may underlying model na bumubuo sa data. Halimbawa, ang data ay mula sa iba't ibang probabilistic or distributions. So, layunin ng approach na ito na hanapin ang model parameters na pinakakma sa data. Ang mga cluster ay hindi basta pinagbabatayan sa distansya kundi sa probabilidad na ang isang points ay kabilang sa isang particular na grupo. So, may mga algorithm tayo na pwedeng gamitin. First is GMM, Gaussian Mixture Models. Next is EMS, Expectation Maximum Algorithm. Next is Bayesian Clustering Methods. So, may mga example tayong pwede dito. Customer segmentation. Paghahati-hati ng mga customer sa e-commerce platform batay sa kanilang behavior o interest. Next is speech recognition. Ang iba't ibang tunog ay maaring magmula sa iba't ibang distributions kaya mahusay ito para sa voice analysis. Next is medical data analysis. Halimbawa, sa paghahati ng mga pasyente based sa sintomas na hindi laging magkakapareho na ang pattern.
Hi everyone, my name is Jody Miles Alvia. In this video, I'm going to explain a simple example of k-means clustering using 2D data points. So, let's get started. But before we start, let's define and understand what clustering is. So, ano nga ba ang clustering? Ang clustering ay isang technique sa machine learning kung saan hinihiwalay o hinahati natin ang mga data points into groups o itinatawag na clusters based sa pagkakapareho nila o kung gaano sila kalapit sa isa't isa. Isipin mo na lang na parang sa fast food. Kung may mga customers na laging sabay-sabay dumadating at umu-order ng halos parehong pagkain, pwede silang pagsamahin sa isang cluster. Same idea sa data. Pinag-group natin ang mga magkakalapit o magkakahawig na data. Gamit tayo ng k-means clustering, kung saan ang k ay number of clusters. Uulitin natin ang proseso ng pag-group at pag-update ng centers hanggang maging stable na ang grupo. Step 1. Given data and initial setup. Given sa problem na to ang mga points A12, B21, C45, D54, at E88. Ang gagamitin nating clustering method ay k-means with k is equal to 2, meaning hatiin natin ang data into 2 clusters. Ang initial centroids natin ay cluster 1, point A, 1 and 2, cluster 2, point E, 8 and 8. Step 2. Assign each point to the nearest centroid. Ngayon, i-assign natin bawat point sa pinakamalapit na centroid gamit ang Euclidean distance formula. Distance equals the square root of the quantity x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus the quantity y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. I-compute natin ang distances. A2 is equal to 0, A2E is equals to approx 9.22 kaya sa cluster 1 si A. B2A is equals to approx 1.41, B2E is equals to approx 9.22, so si B din sa cluster 1. C2A is equals to approx 4.24, C2E is equals to 5, mas malapit pa rin kay A, so cluster 1. D2A is equals to approx 4.47, D2E is equals to 5, so cluster 1 din si D. E is the centroid already, so siya lang ang nasa cluster 2. So after assignment, cluster 1, A, B, C, D, and the cluster 2 is E. Step 3. Recompute the centroids. Next step, recompute natin ang centroid ng bawat cluster by getting the average ng x at y coordinates ng mga points. Para sa cluster 1, x is equals to 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 5 divided by 4 is equals to 3. Y is equals to 2 plus 1 plus 5 plus 4 divided by 4 is equals to 3. So, ang new centroid ay 3, 3 and 3. Cluster 2 has only one point, E8 and 8, so same pa rin ang centroid niya.